This is from my theory and history of planning class. So I'm just gonna start with the first page and read what I wrote. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best note taker, so it might not make any sense, but I hope that it is very relaxing. Alright, CP6035, Theory and History of Planning. Theories of Urbanization and Early Planning. Modern City Planning, 1909. Beginning of City Planning Profession. Conferences, associations, zoning ordinance, etc. Florence, human scale. Nothing really over 5 stories except churches and government. Continuity, consistency of style. A lot of meandering, narrow streets, organic form. Public housing in the 20th century. Tower in a park. Term to describe Florence/other cities' design. Scale, continuity, legibility, monumentalism, circulation. Term we'll talk about later. Highways dominate. Atlanta, highways dominate. Polycentric, not really monumentalism, although buildings are huge. Legibility, maybe some landmarks, but not so high like compared to NYC with its grid and numbered and lettered streets. Early human settlement. Why did villages happen? Widely subscribed theory. Domesticated animals and then farming. Receding ice sheets, flatland, animals attracted that humans could keep/pin up, near riverbanks and fertile land. Compelling evidence, dwelling before farming and farming came from communal living. Major driver was climate change from glacial period. Natural and human determinants of settlement. Topography. Grid, basic unit of organization. Very old. Climate, responsive. Passive cooling of buildings. Deal with rainfall and flooding. Courtyard house. Water collection. Tub with sand underneath filtering the water down to collection. And stone heats up during day, and heat rises, and windows add air in, and stone cools down at night. Convective air movement. Shared walls as a cooling method, and discontinued streets to keep sand out of residents. X. Dog trot. Climate responsive architecture. Elevate house from ground. Disappears during 20th century because of technology. Possibly regret because architecture now maybe not good to deal with flooding and heat. Solar access. Example. Skyscrapers with setbacks. One of first zoning. Defense. Circulation/transportation. Example. Rome had kind of planning laws. Example. No horses on the streets. Streets need to be an X amount of width, etc. So why isn't that planning? Monumentalism. Social structure. Example. Affluent housing, top of the hill. Poverty at bottom with less defense and flooding. Nowadays don't have cities developed around these determinants because of tech. Still, transportation/circulation, social structure, race, infectious disease, and sprawl. Technology like climate control. Example, HVAC. Organic growth, natural process where settlement evolves from village. Planned settlements, preconceived intervention, and have urban status at a given moment rather than achieving this through evolution. Athens, organic growth. Planned city, part of the Greek Empire. This was because this type of city built again and again. Once a city reached 10K population, they built a new city. Roman castra, bring soil from capital and put in the new center of the new city at cross-section of 2 streets. Repeat at every city. Roman engineering. policies of ancient road, system of streets, minimize fire risk with ceramic tiles, height limit. Why not call it planning then? Reactive, short-term engineering things rather than a master plan to achieve goals. Ancient versus modern modes of planning. Ancient cities had more determinants. Savannah, Georgia, designed by Oglethorpe, promote immigration and settlement, representative of democracy, political determinant, site planning, plan before people move there, early planning versus city planning focused on existing cities versus site planning. Concluding questions that might be on the midterm. Focus on more things rather than specific determinants. As number of determinants decrease, have to substitute that with technology like before climate and other controlled form and growth. Now need to come up with things because otherwise growth will be uncontrolled. So things like zoning for low density and affordability control growth now. Like it used to be that for defense you'd have a wall which would control growth. Now need something. Progressive movement in planning. American Industrial Revolution. Wealth gap increased between those who own means of production and working class. Also, new people, women, and non-property owners can vote now. Also, a lot of immigrants started moving in, so tension between natives and foreigners. Streetcar allow elites to move out of dense cities and poor working class stay in the dense cities. Political institutions lacked infrastructure to deal with cities. Redistributive city. Non-elected political boss's job is to get people from their party by convincing people to vote. City boss, ward boss, local precinct captains, working class. Tammany Hall. Boss Tweed, 1860s to 71. City boss did a lot of voter fraud, but citizens were being helped, so no one said anything. Boss Tweed got state to give New York City a lot of power. He got brought down because government building was supposed to cost $250,000, but ended up costing $13 million, so arrested for corruption. Push back on political machine by middle and upper class and pushing idea that we need experts in government. We say that those who don't own property shouldn't be able to vote because they don't pay taxes. Political machine thinks they're helping because no one else would represent foreigners and poor. Reformists think that their wealth is being stolen. Shifting priorities, growth of public investments. We need things like schools, roads, fire and police, etc. Now the city's able to borrow money off of future tax dollars. Few cities as a corporation. Max Weber. Principles of bureaucratic form. Hierarchy of authority. Nonpartisan authority. Promotion. Specialization. Frederick Taylor. Principles of scientific management. Basically Fordism. 3 characteristics of reform. Efficient, accountable, executive responsibility. Drive out partisanship. Civil service. Believe politics out of city government and national issues have no place in city government. Emergence of planning institution. After Parks movement and public health debate, settlement house and reform movement. Instead of top-down, very bottom-up. Rich people go live in slums and build community centers. At same time as city efficient, city beautiful, and garden city. New York Bureau of Municipal Research. Actually, I'm going to read my cheat sheet or whatever that I made for the exam, or at least part of it. 1850s, Industrial Revolution, the industrial city era. Overcrowded, high density, low standard of living, few windows, privy, toilet, in street. No road or pedestrian safety, waterborne diseases like cholera, high infant mortality rate, antecedents to planning, public health, implementation of sewer system, sanitarianism, filth theory, dirt and grime make people sick, fix the dirt, fix the city, germ theory, germs in the grime make people sick. John Snow, mapping cholera, figured out the majority of his patients were concentrated around one water pump. First time of mapping analysis. Green space development, planning as a public order, cities exhibiting control through subdivision, irregular versus uniform setbacks, zoning map, economies of agglomeration, localization economy, production costs of firms in a particular industry decreases as total output of industry increases. Urbanization economies, production costs of firms decrease as total size of urban area and number of firms increase because of shared public infrastructure. Why firms benefit from clustering. Economies of scale, average per unit cost for shipping fall with number of units increasing. 1860s to 1920s, the redistributive city era. Invest in sanitation, housing, and equity. Tammany Hall and Boss Tweed, 1860s. Corrupt politics of the machine. Controlled local politics by doing favors for votes. Helped immigrants, but very corrupt. Boss Tweed, most notorious leader of Tammany Hall. Reform led by upper middle class whites. 1890s to 1920s. Exposed corruption and pushed for progressive reform. Using science and efficiency to plan with strong moralistic undertone. We know what the city needs. Tilden Commission investigates corruption and recommends expert commissions. 1870s. Central Park, Olmsted and Fox Design 1. Critical for health and democracy. Displacement of Seneca Village. Integration with nature. Illusion of infinite space. Physical determinism. Progressive reform movement. 1890s to 1920s. Physical, fix the built environment, lower density, sanitation and sewer, move homes from industry zoning, city beautiful. Social, fix social issues with policy, like settlement houses, social services in poor areas. Comprehensive Plan, 1910s, 1871, Chicago fire destroys much of city and rebuilding called for more systematic planning. Daniel Burnham, 1890s, Chicago World Fair, White City inspires City Beautiful. Howard's Garden City Theory, DC Green Space Plan, First National Planning Conference and School and Expo, New York Bureau of Municipal Research, Scientific and Government, Frederick Taylor, Principles of Scientific Management, Letchworth Garden City, first one built, Burnham's Comp Plan of Chicago, first comp plan and became national standard, concentric rings, center equals civic, top-down planning, no community input. Garden City, purchased suppressed agricultural land by investors, construction of city by future residents, residents pay land rent for collective debt, usually immigrants and working class. After repayment of loan, land rent used for social services, social security, healthcare, retirement homes, create social welfare net. 1920s to 1960s, functional city era. City organized according to function. Standard State Zoning Enabling Act gave cities authority to zone. Dillon's, state says what powers city has. Home, city has all powers till the state takes it away. Euclid versus Ambler Realty. Upheld constitutionality of zoning. Standard City Planning Enabling Act. Authorized cities to adopt master plans. 3 dimensions of zoning. What you can use land for. Intensity and density of uses. Size of buildings. Sunnyside Gardens. Model housing development in Queens based on Garden City. Radburn, New Jersey. Town for cars. RPAA. Reformist. Social / Experimental Towns versus RPA of New York, elite, business-driven, 1934. National Housing Act during Depression, reduce down payments, extend loan life, lower interest rates, minimum standard for home construction. Deed restrictions, next buyer must be the same race. Redlining, neighborhood categorization to rate how safe lending is. Extremely racist. Private banks use as well. Greenbelt towns, New Deal subsidized towns with Garden City principles. 1920s to 70s. Robert Moses in New York City, an urban renewal. Public housing boom, but failed. Towers in the park, poorly maintained. Jane Jacobs, 1970s to present. Neoliberal planning, central planning dangerous and inefficient. Markets rule. Retreat of welfare and distributive policies. Planning should correct market failures. Public goods, externalities, information asymmetries, distributional issues. Rollback, 1980s. State cuts, many functions. Roll out, 90s to 2000s. New forms of governments with lots of public-private partnerships and globalization. Pluralism and advocacy planning. Planning should be negotiation among groups and planners. Must represent marginalized groups. Marxist critiques. Planning under capitalism always serves elite interests.